Again, we are here for the video assessments, part 2, our formal observation. And I do want to welcome you back to the meeting and thank you for taking the time out your busy schedule to participate in this very important meeting. This observation is video needs assessment, part 2, the formal observation. So I am again going to start off introducing myself. And so my name is Taronda Johnson. What I teach is college and career readiness for 8th graders, and I have been teaching now for 5 years. Okay, so Ms. G, we're gonna start back over with you.
All right, I am Berlinti Galantine, they call me Miss G. I am a first year teacher. I teach college and career readiness as well.
I'm Naisha Davis. I am the RLA instructional coach. And I've been teaching for 20 years.
I'm Christy Alley. This is my first year teaching under an intern certificate as I finish my ACP program. I teach 7th and 8th grade ELA resource.
Okay, well, I think I've chosen the best team of ladies to really help me out, dive into some needs of assessments that we do have on the campus here at Crosby Middle School. But for starters, I'm going to give you a few minutes to say, we're going to establish some norms of the meeting. We all have attended a PLC, so we should have a clear understanding of the importance of having norms so that we could come together and get the plan done, right? So, it is important that this group establish at least 3, but no more than 5 norms. And we're gonna, once we agree, we're going to post it, right? So everyone will understand what the expectations are. So, once you're done with the 2 minutes, then we're going to share, and then we're gonna, again, come to an agreement. And then we're going to, be in remindings, because there are 2 more videos, right? So we will, have those ideas in place. So I'm gonna give you 2 minutes, put the timer on so that you can have time to write down and figure out which ones that you will want to apply. Yeah, Ben. I was ready last time. Okay, so let's share out some ideas of norms that you've come up with.
I said be active while listening and participating.
Okay, I agree with those. You had anything different, Miss?
I put, to speak comfortably with the group and for everyone to, be patient and listen, taking turns and being supportive. I guess.
Okay, love that idea. Okay, Ms. G?
I like to, respect one another by actively listening and pursuing positive intentions.
Okay, so it seems like we all in agreement. So the first one is active listening. Supportive.
What was yours?
It was, to support everyone and listen to them as they say,
Okay, being supportive and respectful.
yeah, that'll work.
Okay. Of others' views and sense. Okay. And what was the third one?
Respect one another by actively listening and pursuing positive intentions.
Okay. Can we narrow that? Cause we basically, we have active listening, supportive and respectful of others' views. And,
Maybe invite and honor everyone's perspective.
Yeah,
okay.
I agree.
I agree.
Okay, so now that we have our norms listed, so we're gonna reiterate, so we are going to be actively listening to each other. That way we can gain knowledge and bounce ideas and be able to share once we've gotten everyone's perspective. Also be supportive and respectful. You know, their view may not be the same, right? So you're just gonna have to, well, you're gonna consider that person's view, but also, you know, just make sure that we all come together on the same, be on the same page. And then also, inviting honor, which is pretty much saying that we are showing respect, which is something that I really thrive on. Okay? So, again, the purpose for this video is, the purpose is a practical observation activity, is to afford the intern, which is myself, the opportunity to work with my campus supervisor, Mr. Leonard, and other facility members, which is you ladies, to develop an instructional or achievement needs assessment that address the teaching and or socioeconomic disadvantage and at-risk students that we do have here on campus. So, the purpose and the topic that we're going to talk about, we're going to revisit the tapeworm. We're going to look at socioeconomic disadvantaged students, those who are at risk. We are going to also pick up strengths and weaknesses as we did for all three levels, whether it be math or English or science, perhaps for 8th grade, right? So, we are going to list teaching or learning gaps. And then we're going to ask ourselves about the barriers of performance within those students. And we have to agree as a group, which I kind of missed the paper of. We won't deal with our strengths and weaknesses as a group. But we'll disregard this, but we're gonna come up with, using the data, we're gonna list some of the things that we can consider that will help our students, and then come up with one common goal that we wanna take to those who volunteer in the ELA department, so that we could see if the plan actually works. So the purpose of what we, possibly is we wanna show growth, right? So, okay. So we're gonna take a few minutes again, and we're going to look at the tapeworm list. we want to identify a few strengths and a few weaknesses that we can, that's really built, really stretched out, right? It's something that just, we really need to work on. And that being the all, grade levels. What we're focusing on mostly the economic disadvantage and at-risk students during this particular year. Okay, give you a few more minutes. And you can pay close attention to the chronic absenteeism, the, attendance rate, dropout rate. Those for your part. Mobile students. Okay, so what were some of the interesting things that you found out, that you found by viewing your campus report card that you had no idea about, Ms. Allen?
I didn't realize that chronic absenteeism was at 20%. I mean, I know it's high, cause I have several chronically absent students in my classes. And that's one of the things I think that hinders them is you can give them makeup work, but it doesn't make up for the missing lecture and the practice and the modeling that was done the day that they missed. And when it's a consistent issue, they're missing a lot of instruction, and then they get to an assessment and it's just, they're not given all the opportunities they would if they were here more.
Okay, so we can address, say that according to this, that is one of the main issues, right? We agree?
And I agree with that, because what happens with that is because students tend to believe if they're absent, they don't have to do the work.
Absolutely.
And I'm constantly reminding them that does not exempt you from doing the work because
Right.
you're absent.
And then they have the email.
Zamaya Osborne, please report to the front office, your ride is here. Zamaya Osborne, please report to the front office, your ride is here.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, they don't have to do work.
And they not,
You have to come
it's not
to the line.
registering with them that they do have this nice iPad that the school has provided for them, and
They don't use it like that.
they don't use it.
And then they don't come to tutorials either, where you're like, I
Yeah.
could work with you for an hour to kind of catch you up, even maybe not one-on-one, but on a much smaller group.
Yeah.
They don't come.
Okay. So, what was some other, areas that shows a little,
Well, we know we just have to hone in on our SPED and expanded groups for sure.
okay, so our consensus, so.
523, let's walk. Walk. 523.
Oh,
Spending
and,
DD students.
DD.
Okay.
Because I wonder, like, I know that we have in-class support, but it's not,
Zamaya Osborne, please report to the front office, your ride is here. Zamaya Osborne, your ride is here. Are you Zamaya?
Oh my goodness. Come on now.
okay. Day in the life, a day in the life.
I know, come on now.
But I know we have in-class support, but when in-class support is in a classroom that has 12 to 15 special ed students, they cannot, in that 30 minutes, 45 minutes that they're there, really give the support that those students need the way that they need it. But then they don't necessarily need resource either, so there's those bubble kids that kind of get lost.
Right, and get lost and,
Well, I think from the instructional side, when I go in classrooms, what we notice is that our in-class support doesn't know what real support looks like.
That too,
So,
yeah,
you are
yeah.
correct.
They
Yes,
come in and they just
correct.
like lumps on the log,
Okay.
so,
Yes,
I think that, we need to hone in on
some
giving them
training,
some professional development
Yes.
so that they know what to do when they go
100%.
in the classroom.
yes.
Cause I did it, and you're right.
They choose
You know,
support
just trying to
or-
do this.
and class. Support. Okay?
Mhm.
That does mean because we've all been there, right? We have to really get at these students to try and understand why we're there, and then most of them actually refuse the services that we give, so that is
That
a big.
too, they don't want to be sped, they don't want to need the help, and then they don't realize that they're actually holding themselves back.
Right, that is a major concern. Okay, so, I noticed the mobile students, they're here, they're there, they're living with grandma, they're going over to Amy's house, they're driving from Baytown, they're driving from Houston, they're driving from every which way. So there's no stability there with those kids. And, it's actually a total of 233 students.
That's quite high too.
And that is very high, right? And so it's like they can't be, like we said, here physically, so how can we close that gap? So it is a issue in that area. And then considerably, the amount of students is, Hispanic population, which is 122 students of that 233. So that is a really high number for that. So, instead of harping on most of these weaknesses, let's move, I wanna also, before we move forward, teacher ethnicity. I saw that to be a default in, the ratio. Whereas the campus has, 81.7 teachers, the support group is, 4.4. And then, when it comes to, by us saying we have more Hispanic students than, any other ethnicity, if we look at this, there are more African American teachers at 30.8%, whereas Hispanic teachers is only 13.6. So
And
that,
whites is at 42.
yes, and whites is at 42. So with the African Americans and the whites are being here to serve majority Hispanics, that could be a definite disadvantage as well, considering the high number we have for EB students.
Well, and I know we don't do bilingual in middle school the way that they do in elementary. They have like their own bilingual teachers that teach in Spanish and English at the elementary level. But it would benefit the EB students to have some teachers who could clarify things in their native language as their, because we do have so many EB students that, even though we do our best to get them to learn English, ultimately that takes time. And
It
that
does.
means that they're not accessing the curriculum.
Right. Okay, so let's pull out some strengths here. I'm quite sure we have some. Oh, yeah, we have to have some. So,
Well, we have teachers, let's start.
yes, we have that, and actually, we have experienced teachers.
Yes.
Okay, we have experienced teachers, and then,
One of the things I think we do well at middle school too is that we have a lot of male teachers. According to these documents, we have 20. And I feel like, especially for our economically disadvantaged students who often are lacking a parent in some way, having male teachers and a male role model, even a female role model too, but having those male role models is really important, especially for the boys, especially during this middle school
right, this
time.
adolescent
Yeah.
time, right. That is, highly important to have that sort of guidance, and then, try to steer them in the right direction. Okay, let's see, what else we could find in a positive. What about collaborations and PLCs and how teachers are, actually wanting to help each other out whenever there is some sort of misconception?
Well, we do have our weekly PLCs with our teams. I do feel like that really helps because it helps us kind of brainstorm together if we're like, okay, this is the story that we're reading, and then as we're talking about it, like, oh, this sounds like a great idea, or you know what, I saw a worksheet that would really go well with this, or I found a companion text. Like, it really, I feel like brings the teams
Some
together.
conversation.
Yeah. I feel like that is a strength that we have here. I don't know if any of the other campuses do it, but I like that we do.
Okay, teacher attendance. I tried to narrow it down, believe it or not, it's close to 30 sheets. So, okay, I see another here as she's looking for what she said she found, the graduation amount. Although we have all those different obstacles and concerns, Crosby is graduating a decent amount of students. Okay.
Well, I can look at too, when we're talking about growth. When you're looking at our gifted and talented students, which is 121 kids, we can build on our growth by honing in on those kids. What
Okay.
does, because when you're talking about growth with them, you can't approach them the same way as you would on level. So maybe, thinking about and planning true gifted and talent programs here. Okay.
That's good.
Yes, and then, like you say, with people that are seeing that they are progressing, and then more students that, we could develop some of those programs, and then perhaps we will be able to get more students that will wanna, right, will see the growth in it, and then they can kinda encourage those classmates that are not doing their best at, let's say, at a certain time. Okay, so, let's talk about what we've talked about before with parents, with professional growth, with these things. So let's go back through them. And so we can come into a consensus of one goal that we are trying to accomplish. We could also go into what we know of, which is English, right? Maybe we can focus on that and include this into the strengths and weaknesses so that we can come up with a common goal. So let's try and do that. Let's look at, it should be in a first, we wanna go through sixth grade milestone. It may be, it's a big one, that one. So, let's look at the smaller pack. I made two different ones, so let's look at the smaller one. So we're going to, we did this as a whole, this is for the teacher and instructional side. But we're going to look at the students, so we can find some strengths and weaknesses in that area. So we're seeing for sixth grade, there's a total of 507, as he said. And in sixth grade is 295 disadvantaged students. And 88 students that have special needs.
But in the SPED indicator, 35% of them approached grade level, which is impressive.
Which is impressive, yes.
It's very impressive. And 12.5% met grade level.
Yes,
So that's a lot, that's doing really well, that's probably needs to come out of it.
Well, well, I think it's important too, if these are our sixth graders, again, following the cohort, like that group of students.
Yeah.
Right.
Like making sure that we hone in on that group so that they don't regress.
Yes.
Right, okay. So, we are sticking with that, and that's part of some area that I personally need to look into as well, because with this, coming up with some sort of idea, plan to, as she said, with the cohorts, how are we going to keep them on that, same mind frame, and then continue to show growth and things of that nature. But yes, pointing that out for sixth grade is a really big deal. So, we turn the page here, we have sixth grade, ECR. So, they had a raw score for the, of a 3. And the approach grade level is significantly high, but also the meets level wasn't as bad either, 75%.
And 16% for masters isn't shabby either. I mean, that's pretty good for mouse,
And
or for,
Well, and this is the second one,
yeah.
so.
Oh, yes, it
Yeah,
is.
they should
this
have,
is the second
been
one,
practiced
so,
by that point, yeah.
Mhm.
So if we were to follow to see where are they now, hopefully we'll see even greater growth, like from
From
the
the basics.
milestone today.
Okay, so we have, sixth graders doing fairly well on, in that area. Okay, so let's take a milestone for seventh grade.
Now, I will say every year with seventh grade, for whatever reason, well, not for whatever reason, seventh grade is always the hardest of all three.
Yes.
It's a difficult year, you know, they're in that middle stage, in between stage. So that is the most difficult out of middle school, so you factor that on top of the test is even, to me, the hardest, of the three, because eighth grade, they don't have any new teachers. So it's just a year of.
It's refreshing, yeah.
Right,
So that's why eighth grade, typically every year, they show really strong because they're not introducing anything new. Whereas sixth and seventh, they are getting a lot of new.
yes, and,
And I do see that, being somebody who teaches seventh and eighth grade, I see my eighth graders grasping concepts much quicker, and I've been able to release students from resource much quicker from eighth grade. And in seventh grade, it is a struggle, they just, like Miss Davis said, they're on a struggle bus that year, like they don't care, they're going through a lot, they're just kind of nomadic at that point.
so here.
So I don't know, maybe it's a good idea, we're gonna focus on all grades, but
Yeah.
in particular, really seven, like, they need like a solid
They
plan.
really do.
Okay. So let's see how they did on, the area we love the most. Their writing, their ECR. And I particularly do love this story 2 times.
And this is the second one, just like sixth grade,
Okay.
so,
Now Roscoe is 3. And again, we do have the highest approach level.
I find that they do better on the ECRs when they're solo than when they're included in a test. At least for my students, like, because that's all I have access to, but for my students, I find that when it's just an essay, and that's all they have to do that day, I get different out of them than when it's like attached to a milestone say.
yeah, because of the stamina, you got
The stamina,
all that
exactly,
reading, all those
exactly.
questions,
Yes,
that would be
Yeah.
a lot for me.
exactly,
It's
because
too much.
having done all my teacher exams, it's a lot,
It's a
you know,
lot,
taking
yeah.
so many and then having to write an essay at the end, you're burnt by the time you get there.
You just don't feel like it.
Yeah, it's pretty much you're over it. So, do we want to, what would be a good focus on that? I think with that, they write so much and their stamina should be there, even in, our course. You know, every week, it's an essay. So, in earlier times, we would just have them do different parts of the essay so that they can understand how to form a claim, how to find evidence, how to make it make sense. And, another area I would say, we may need to think about is the reasoning or the explanation at the
Yes.
end. So
Because,
that's something that we need
yes,
to
the
think about.
explanation, because when my kids are working through the race theory, most of them remember what art A and C mean, but when they get to that E, they just get lost.
Well, with that too, I think they just wanna go and say, I got evidence, but it does not match your claim,
Right.
you know? So they need to understand too how to select evidence that is going to actually support and not you just throwing anything down because.
And that's one thing I do feel like we miss with the pacing calendar and everything that we follow. There's no writing that we teach, like we push it in places, but we don't have like a unit where we just tackle writing. Like I know you guys do in college and career, but in English class, I feel like we also could back it up with even warm-ups of like you said, how to write a claim, how to find your evidence. This is what you wanna say, go find your evidence.
So maybe like,
Writing.
writing workshops.
Yeah,
Yes,
writing
yes,
workshops.
or stations.
Okay. So, also with just focusing on race, maybe there's another, thing that we came up, that we were using. It was just answering it and then finding the evidence and then extending your answer and then giving your reason, yeah. So that, they tend to find that easy as well in order to fill out, and it's a lot of, mnemonic devices that we do use, so perhaps that would be something, but I really feel, I like this. I really do, I feel like if they are, and then they're not doing the same thing every time. It's like when you go from one area to the next, you can have, it's sort of like an escape room.
Yeah, well, and then also, I feel like regardless, as much as we try to teach bell to bell, there's usually somewhere something that you're waiting for this group of students to finish, but this group of students is done. They can do a writing station. And then while they finish and they're getting on the next assignment, you can take this writing station and do it with these kids over here. And then that way, you know, it's almost like a small group in a way, where, you know, you're like, oh, you're finished, okay, well, go get a writing station, have a seat, and get it done, show me your work when you're finished, you know. You could work, I feel like it would be,
Small bits every day.
Small bits.
yes, small
Yes.
reinforcements
So
rather
they-
than a big lesson.
Right, and then it won't seem like it's an essay every time,
Yes.
because it's
It's
being
just
chunks.
pieces, yes,
So, yeah,
Cause you
that,
could take your ECR number 7,
yeah,
right, and say, okay, this is how we're gonna attack this ECR this time. Today, you're gonna focus on just your claim or your thesis, that's it.
Yep.
Then the next day, you're gonna focus on body paragraph 1, you know, and then by the time you're done,
you just put it all together.
you're putting it together, yeah.
okay. Okay, so we coming up with some great ideas. So, let's see. I don't have y'all papers from last month, and I don't even have mine. And the notes. Okay, let's see. So we're going to basically, see if I can locate it. We're going to just harp on a few of these things to where we could come up with this consensus in closing the gap. I can do it really quickly.
Well, I know we talked to Miss Olmsted, at least as an 8th grade team, about possibly purchasing IXL for the English department next year, because then we could also do skill builders with IXL, like they do with math. And then we can even bring it down in grade level where it's doing the same TEK, but it's on a lower level for our SPED kids. Where if they're reading on a 4th grade level, no problem, you're gonna access this TEK on a 4th grade level and we can build it up. I really feel like that would be beneficial for everybody.
Yeah, that, and then the program that we're using is also beneficial too. And, hopefully they will continue on with it so that we could, first of all, allow us to really understand what we're doing with it. And then we'll be able to help them out even further as the, trying to find this.
Because we could even assign it as extra credit or something, if, or early finishers, this is IXL you need to get on, very much like the math teachers do.
Yes, and that is pretty beneficial. I am not going to reinvent it. I was trying to pull this document up where we could just, on this. Okay, so let's talk about this. I think we will end and we'll do part 3 of this and share our thoughts on, well, let's come up with, so we agreed that the needs assessment is for writing, right? So we all agree on this, and then basically, so this is what we are going to work on. So we're gonna come up with ideas the next time we talk and, have our meeting, and then we're gonna come up with different ways that we can take it and say that's additional and break it down so where they can implement it inside the classrooms and see how well it works. Okay, so this is a go. Okay, so in closing the gaps, let's try to see what else we can do. We came up with parts for reading, but how does this look? What do we, what is our end goal in closing the gaps with the writing workshops?
To be able to be, stronger, independent writers, I mean, ultimately, because this, we know writing goes beyond a test.
Yeah.
That's not the purpose of this. The purpose of writing is so that you can go out into the working world and be able to be a sufficient or a productive member to society.
Yeah.
If you're not able to write, then you're not reading either. So,
Exactly.
And I
That's our
preach that a lot.
And I do wish that we had free reading time, like go get a book and sit down and read. I don't have time to do that in my class with as much stuff as we cover, but I do wish that we had that window, even just 10 minutes, go get your book that you're assigned, where I'm gonna set a timer for 10 minutes and everybody's gonna quietly read. Or, just to help build that too, cause like you said, kids don't read, they text.
Right.
Or they read text, and I think that's one of the reasons why grammar is in the toilet, all of the things are bad because they don't use it.
well, and I wanna say too, we don't have to wait for somebody to tell us to do those things.
No, that's true.
So, there are some times, when I'm in the classroom, no, we're gonna skip that warm-up, we're gonna do this.
Right.
Or, no, we're gonna spend the last 10 minutes of class, we're not doing that exit ticket, we're gonna read.
Okay.
Build it into your classroom, so that way you know at least you're controlling what's happening in your world,
That's true.
Okay, so last thing we did, Kane, and those were some great expressions, right? And so let's come up with a numerical goal. What are we trying to see? When we do come up with.
Do we
these
want like a
goals?
percentage,
Yes.
or,
Like the time, how long are we gonna give them, for them to implement it? And so that we can have some sort of data? And,
We're gonna have, what, a final exam at the end of the year? For English?
it could look different for everybody.
Yeah.
So,
or we can do something like take the exit ticket.
Oh, okay, so we could
or-
just do a quick assessment.
Yeah, quick assessment, it doesn't have to,
nothing.
nothing formal. Or, we could, well, they took the test today, so we
Yes.
can't, you can't use that, so.
And I don't know that we have enough time before start to really implement it.
Right, like how much, so we're talking about this, there's gonna be a project of stages,
For the sake of the time, yes.
okay? So, and what's our time frame? Do we have like to the end of the year or
No, this
next year?
is, well, this is ongoing,
Ongoing
It
for
is.
a while?
yes, but,
So maybe we want like just a intro window?
yes.
That would be good.
That would-
Okay.
An intro window just to get us started? So from, we wanna say, starting,
After spring break?
Yeah, after
After
spring
spring
break,
break.
That's like
yeah,
a
and then
clean that.
Go from there.
Or we could be like, hey, we're implementing this
So
new
from-
thing, we're gonna have
so-
writing
right.
stations.
So from spring break through the end of
At
the
the
year?
end of the year,
End of the
yes.
year.
Okay.
And then we'll
Okay.
pick it back up
When we get back?
when we get back from school.
Okay.
Okay, well, again, I really do thank you for my formal assessment, look at me, assessing myself. Formal observation, and, stay tuned for part 3. And then we, meet the next time, once we come up with our plan.